Okay, good morning, everyone. Again, thank you to those who continue to join us at our 6th Annual Parent and Community Engagement Conference. We're going to get started with our next workshop. Again, my name is Cindy, and we have Erica here with us as well. And it's our pleasure on behalf of the MUSD PRC to welcome you here at this next workshop. Again, we're going to go over the logistics of the workshop. Let's see here. Please mute your microphones during the presentation. Turn on your cameras. Type your name of school, and last 4 digits of your number in the chat, just like you've been doing for the raffle. Questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation, but feel free to add your questions and comments as they come to mind in the chat box. Be aware this workshop is being recorded. And now I'll hand it off to Erica.
Okay, so let's begin. As parents in this day and age, I am sure you wonder about the safety of your students at school, right? Our expert today, Mr. Lawrence Fernandez, is here to help us learn about the strategies used in schools to improve safety. Lawrence is our MUSD Director of Safety and Security who has served our district for over 20 years. He is passionate about providing a safe learning environment for our students and takes his job very seriously to provide the safest school for your precious children. Lawrence enjoys watching superhero movies and is a proud father of 2 beautiful children. Mr. Fernandez, please tell us what the district is doing to keep our schools safe.
Let me begin by saying it's a privilege, and I thank the parents for being here today. Like you had mentioned, I've been working with the district for over 20 years. Particularly, my work was in gangs, and I took on this role of overseeing the safety department in Madera Unified School District with that capacity. With that being said, one of the biggest roles that we're taking in providing safe learning environments for your children is basically providing safety officers. Our safety officers and our SROs are the backbone of our safety department. And an example of that would basically be like Madera High School. All comprehensive high schools have 5 safety officers working on their particular site. Every high school has a lead officer, which is a supervisor capacity, and then we also have an SRO. So at Madera High, Matilda Torres, and Madera South Campus, we have basically 5 safety officers, 1 lead. So that'd be 6 safety officers, and then an SRO. So we have 7 safety officers on that particular campus at any given time. One of the things that a lot of people aren't mindful of is that we housed our police officers, one at South. So if you can envision Madera, we have one at South. So that would handle all the schools, Alpha, Madison, Chavez, Parkwood, and any of our county schools should we have an emergency. They're in close proximity. Madera High would handle our John Adams, Lincoln, Washington School. And then we have over on Torres, which would handle our east side of town. So that would be Berinda, Monroe, Desmond. So we have our SRO strategically placed at those sites for a quick response time. With that being said, all our junior highs, we're very proud to announce, has 3 safety officers working each site. So the ratios of safety officers is 1 per every like 300 students. We have 1 at MadTech. We also have 2 at our continuation schools, Ripperton and Mountain Vista, and then adult ed and Furman. One of the things that we also have in our department is basically we have a rover for our elementary schools that basically he roves all our elementary schools, checking the campuses. He's in a patrol unit, and we monitor that. We have basically right now 5 patrol units that monitor the district at any given time. So all the high schools have a patrol unit, so we could go out and deal with any incident in Madera City or in the county if we need to with our schools. And another thing that we did is every year we provide safety training for our officers. For instance, our officers go through State Bill 390, which is an extensive 3-day, 24-hour training. They do 8 days of training a day. And we work with a company that has a huge amount of experience. They have like 300 years of law enforcement experience. And we talk about search and seizure, active shooter. A lot of people aren't aware, but our safety officers go to the police academy and they're trained in 11550. That's drug recognition. And what that means is they go to the police academy and they train at the police academy on how to recognize that students are under the influence of drugs. And so we're very proud to provide that for our parents. One, it's not to get the kids in trouble. It's basically, as a parent, if my son or daughter is vaping or using drugs, this way we have an expert on campus that can tell the parents, yes, they are under the influence, and that would give us a good indication that their son or daughter is using drugs, so we can find intervention strategies to get away from that. So we have that training as well. Our guys do, they're all CPR certified. Several of our guys are threat assessments, so they can help with threat assessments should there be a threat towards a school. They're very familiar with Stop the Bleed. So our guys get extensive amounts of training in that capacity, and we work directly with our SROs. One of the other things that we practice on basically is all our schools do fire drills. We do typically at elementary schools, we'll do 3 lockdown drills, monthly fire drills, and at the end of the year, 1 earthquake drill. But we do our lockdown drills at our elementary schools. Our junior highs, we also do 3 lockdown drills, earthquakes, and we also do evacuation drills. High school's a little bit different. We typically at the high schools do 1 lockdown drill and multiple fire drills throughout the year. One of our biggest accomplishments that we felt was important to us was our Stop It app. Are any of our parents familiar with our Stop It app? Maybe they could put it in the chat. But basically, the Stop It app was this. And I hate to use this term, but a lot of kids, we would talk to parents and they'd say, Ms. Fernandez, there's drugs on our campuses. What are we doing about it? I said, what do you mean? And they would identify who's doing what on campus. And I'd say, did you report it? And they said, no, I don't want my son or daughter involved. I don't want them in the office, and I don't want them in trouble. And so we also had some students come to staff and say, there's certain things going on our campus, and we wanted to stop. I would say a large majority of our students, I'm going to venture to say as far as, 95% of our students just want a safe learning environment to go to school in. And so for that, what we introduced was a Stop It app. The Stop It app is an anonymous reporting app that kids can download on their phone. It's capital STOP and then Stop It IT. And basically that's an app that they go to the Google Store and download it. And one of the things I want to tell you about this, it's truly anonymous. If I get out my phone here, I could basically, my phone, if somebody reports a particular, just say a kid is selling drugs on campus or in his classroom, the kid could go on their app, type it in. Let's just say Cindy's selling drugs in 4th period of math. That would go directly to the principal, to security officers, and to our police officer only on that site. They would address it immediately. For instance, we had a kid say another kid had a weapon. Within probably 1 minute, that student was brought in and searched, and he had a knife on him, but that was reported by a student. So with that said, it's offered to every one of our students from 4th to 12th grade. And basically what that is, whatever you type in, all I see is a number. All I see is a number. And the reason why I selected the Stop It app is there was a lot of anonymous reporting apps out there. And kids would say, oh, this kid's selling drugs, but we couldn't ask any questions because it's anonymous reporting. You know who did it. Although this is anonymous, but one of the things that we have is we have a feature in there that we could text back. So if a kid said, Cynthia's selling drugs, I say, Cynthia who? Cynthia Rodriguez. I'll say, thank you. What class is she in? And she'll say the classroom. So this waits. Another example that we get all the time. My friend has been cutting herself. What's your friend's name? Arlene. Arlene what? Arlene from TJ. I have her in 6th grade, so then we can start searching for that child. So basically, it's a way for kids to give their voice or give their concerns of any type of safety, any type of self-harm, suicide issues. They can go to that Stop It app and reach out for help for whoever it is. And it is truly anonymous. So now we gave a voice to our students so that they can report things and not have to worry about being called in the office or having to write a statement or anything like that. It's typically anonymous. So with that being said, we offer it to 4th through 12th graders in our district. It's not used very much in California. When we brought it in about 5 years ago, we were only one of 13 school districts in California that use that particular app. With that being said, we offer it from 4th to 12th grade. Now, if students, they say, if we have a parent that says, well, what if our child doesn't have a phone and we understand for whatever reason, every one of the Stop It app is downloaded on every computer in our district. So the kids' Chromebooks, it's all I don't know what the term would be, but it's formatted for those computers. I checked my son's computer from TJ and it's in there. So kids can go into their computer. If they don't have any Chromebook that we have in our district that they're checked out, or any computer, could go in there and type in the Stop It app what concerns they have for their district, and you go directly, like I said, to their administrator, to the police officer, to myself. Now, one thing about the Stop It app is I monitor, well, I shouldn't say a company monitors the Stop It app for emergencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let me give you an example. we had a girl at about 12 o'clock at night basically report on the Stop It app that her friend was thinking about killing herself. Now, because of that, I got a call from Stop It at about 12, immediately after, maybe like 12:02, 12:03. And they said, Ms. Fernandez, I was asleep, obviously. They said, Fernandez, this is agent such and such. Have you read the Stop It app? I said, I have not. They said, we'll read it to you. And they read to me the message. I said, I'll open my computer. So I got on my computer and I started chatting with the student, asking, can you talk? This is Ms. Fernandez, Director of Safety and Security. She said, not right now. I said, well, I'll be here waiting. At about 1 o'clock in the morning, she texted me back saying, yes. I said, what was the concern? She told me what the concern was. It was a valid concern. After we got the student's name, we worked with Madera Police Department and we went over and did a welfare check on that child that night at about 2 in the morning. So that's just the capability that system has. And our kids, believe it or not, are telling us what they want us to know and what their concerns are. So let me give you an example. Last time I checked, Anaheim School District is 4 times bigger than our district. And my understanding is they have 800 downloads and they have 80,000 students. Madera Unified only rolls it out to 4th through 12th graders. With that being said, people would be surprised. Guess how many downloads we have right now? We have close to 5,000 downloads. So that means 5,000 kids have it in their hands. 5,000 kids have it at their phone tip, but basically on their phones where they can report anything to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in our schools. So that was one of our huge accomplishments that we were able to do, is get that out to our students. And students are using it. They're using that voice to get out the message that whether it be, violence on campus. What a lot of it is too as well. Our parents should be happy for this as well. Our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. Sorry about that, my radio's on. And even our junior highs, they reporting bullying. So kids would say, my friend was on the playground today and this kid grabbed a stick and hit him in the face. That goes directly to the principal and vice principal so they can address it. A lot of these things weren't being addressed or told by students to anybody. So now we have a voice. And you know what, for that matter, any one of our parents, I see that we have 2 parents in the audience. Our parents could download the app, or if they're sitting at a dinner table, if one of our parents is sitting at their dinner table with their child and they're having dinner or whatever it may be, maybe they're shopping and they said, Mom, I'm really concerned. Why, Meal? There's kids selling drugs on our campus. Why don't you report it? Well, I don't want to get in trouble. Well, here's a Stop It. You can report on the Stop It. It'll come directly to that principal. So now our kids have a voice and our parents have a voice. It's reviewed by our administrators, like I said, by our vice principal, by our security team, by our SROs. And if it's an emergency, they call me directly, but I view all of them as well. So it's a great tool. And I highly encourage parents to encourage their kids to download that. Should they see something in school, say something. So for instance, if he's overhearing kids talking about committing a violent act in school, that's something they can bring on their phone and say, these 2 kids are talking about this, and we'd immediately be able to address that. And our kids are expressing their concerns. I want to say, parents, don't hold me to this because I'll have to go back and look. But I think so far, I get probably 5 reports daily. And I think we're in the thousands now that kids have reported, and we get what they report in bullying and things of that nature. So the kids are reporting and they're using the system. And so we're very proud of that. The other thing I want to talk about is Raptor. Raptor is a new device that we used typically in our schools years ago when a parent would sign in to come onto our campus. Now parents have to give an ID. They run it through the Raptor system, and the Raptor system checks it through a 50-state nationwide sexual registrant. So if they're a sexual registrant, like a 290 registrant, what that means, a child molester, possibly crimes with a child, that would be indicated on the front office. They would have a screen. It comes up red and it'll say that this person has been identified as a sexual registrant. They'll call administration. They're not going to be allowed on our campus. So that's a big safeguard that we never had in place. And not only that, it monitors who comes on our campus. So for instance, say we have an award ceremony and somebody does something to a child. All we had before in the past was just a sign-in sheet. Now we have a cloud that records who came on campus, a picture of them, and what time they came. But our biggest thing is to protect our children from sexual registrants, possibly a child predator. So we have the Stop Raptor that's used in every one of our schools, and that's been instituted. I believe we're going on our 3rd year. And then the other one component that I want to talk about is our Titan app. It's an app that our teachers have. Every teacher on our school has. It's immediately, we can report any type of emergency to all our teachers. Basically, it goes on their phone, it overrides it so that if they're teaching, it'll keep beeping, and then they'll be forced to look at it and see that there's an evacuation or any type of incidents that is occurring on campus. So it's a way for us to immediately get a hold of all our teachers and staff instantaneously should we have an emergency. So there's some of the things that we're doing. We also have a QR code for our substitute to download that app. One of the other things I want to talk about is each one of, and give me a second, I'm going to get up real quick. Each one of our schools have, if you're not familiar with it, they have a comprehensive school site safety plan. And in that comprehensive school site safety plan, we don't share these with pretty much anybody. It's basically all our routes, all our evacuation routes. What are like, for instance, in here, a lot of people don't know this, but one of our biggest safety concern to students is going to be a gas leak. When we work with PG&E, they say gas leaks occur all throughout the nation, particularly in California. So we have maps in there to tell if we have a gas leak, where they evacuate to. What's the 500 radius where we need to get those kids safe? So we have our reunifications in here. We have our evacuation. We have our emergency response. We have who's gonna deal with people. Should there be an injury on campus? So we have typically the average comprehensive school site safety plan is about, I'm going to say 40 to 50 pages, and they go over it every year at the first of the year, and they put in like new staff, who's going to risk who, knows CPR, and it goes through a basic safety list of checkoffs that we need to make sure that campus is safe. And so they go through and check them off, and we do that every year. So it's a comprehensive school site safety plan that all our administrators go through. How am I looking on time?
You're doing good. You're
With
good,
that-
Lawrence.
With
Mhm.
that being said, do we have any questions from our audience?
I don't have anything in the chat yet.
So let me fill them in, because I think the director Alia that's putting this on asked me to talk about our recent possible threats, but there wasn't at Nishimoto. So at Nishimoto, we had a student call 911 and said there was a man on campus with a gun. That was false, and that was investigated, and it was not accurate. One of the things I want to tell the parents is that our first officer, like I told you, was on site within less than a minute. The SRO at Matilda Torres immediately got the call 911. She was over there, and within, I think, 5 minutes, we had over 50 officers there, and we searched every classroom. Now, we determined that there was nothing happening there, obviously, because we started arriving. But with that being said, every classroom was searched. We went into every classroom, searched every room on that campus, and we had that campus cleared immediately. So our response time is very fast with our department. We also have a district dispatcher that monitors all the emergency radio traffic in our district. There's a channel 3 in here that basically myself, our SROs monitor with our dispatcher. If any emergency occurs at that school site, they could go on the emergency channel and say what that emergency is. It could be simple as, we have a man taking pictures of kids across the street. Then we could dispatch one of our SROs to immediately deal with that problem. Whatever the problem is, our dispatcher will handle it. And we have camera systems at Madera High, Madera South, MLK, Desmond, all the junior highs, all the comprehensive high schools, and the continuation schools have a camera system. If you're not familiar with them, like I would say Desmond has over 500 views. So for instance, one of those things that those things are helpful for is this. If like for instance, let me give you a case. And this is how everything comes together and works so nicely in our district. We had at one of our junior high schools, a girl was touched inappropriately by a boy. Her friend that was her friend, basically goes to Stop It app and said, my friend was touched inappropriately like this boy. So she reports that. We're able to go on Stop It and identify who did it. We went to the cameras and we asked the girl, what did this occur? When did it happen? She said at break, we brought up the cameras, and sure enough, guess what? We recorded the incident occurring. We were to bring that kid in, and discipline was dealt with accordingly. So it's a wonderful wraparound feature that we have with the Stop It app in our camera systems. The other thing is we'll have a fight. It'll help us investigate who was a victim, who was a perpetrator of the particular fight. And the other thing is it keeps our kids safe. We're working on a video wall right now in our dispatch office. I wish I could. Basically, we have a wall that's approximately, I'm going to say 10 feet wide and about 6 feet tall. And basically, we could view all our campuses. That's where we're going with the capability at any different time. Our dispatcher could be up watching Matilda Torres, Madera High, Madera South, MLK, Desmond, and TJ. Should they say we have an emergency on channel 3, or she's monitoring the channels at this particular school, just say MLK. She could bring that camera system up and start dictating to us where the threat or what the issue is, so we can start addressing it. So we have a wonderful camera system at all our high schools and junior highs right now. There's so much more that we have. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Can I ask my audience if they cared? Where did you have children at? If they care to say it, if they don't want to, that's fine. But I'll make up a school then. let's just say,
We have, I could just throw out names. We
okay,
have someone at Monroe, at Chavez, John Adams, Lincoln, Alpha. So we're pretty much, Madera High, TJ. So
oh, wow,
there's a
okay.
little bit of, yeah, everything in here.
So we have one at TJ. I see that
Yes.
come up in the chat. So let me tell you, like at TJ has we're working on, and we should have it wrapped up by December or January. TJ in the front office is going to have a video screen in front of their front office there. And if there's a threat from the outside, or say that we had to go to a lockdown for whatever reason, maybe there's a high-speed chase and the suspect runs towards a school. They have a screen so they can see the outside. If they see something suspicious, I would say every one of our schools has what they have, a mag lock. So there's a button they can press and it automatically locks those front doors. And we provided a particular mechanism that's going to be very hard to get into our schools right now. It's very, very hard. So we have some things that we have put in place that we haven't shared with our community, but it's going to be very hard to get through and to get to our kids. We've done this at all our elementary schools. All the front offices are like this. If you ever go to Monroe, that feature is set there. It's at all our schools, and they should be using their features. If you want to write my number down, because I work for you guys, you guys are taxpayers, and my job is to protect your children. I'll give you my number now, and feel free to call me if your son or daughter's school site doesn't have it, but I know they do, and if they're using it. My direct number, my district number is 474-2761. 474-2761. And what I will tell you is that's a district phone, and they provide me with that phone, and that phone is to respond to parents and staff members should we have any type of concerns. So that's my direct number. Like I said, I work for you guys. If you guys feel you need to call me and express some of your concerns that you may have, please do so. And I answer that phone, I answer parents, and I can answer any of your questions. So those are some of the features we have in place. And one of the things I'm also proud to announce, one of our worst fears for parents is active shooter. And some of these things that we put in place, we have for active shooter. One of the things I talked to was California Risk Management, which provides insurance for schools in the Central Valley. According to Larry Chow, with that group, Madera is ranked probably number one right now as far as safe schools and the safety measures we have in schools right now. So we're proud to be at number one for our student safety. With that being said, is there any questions you guys have? I think I covered the majority of what I wanted to cover today, so I'm hoping to answer any questions that they may have.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm sorry about all the noise. I have pet birds, but my question is, who are the, maybe you said it, but I was having trouble logging in, but at each school site, who's in charge of, making sure all these systems, like the cameras, or like you mentioned about locking the front doors of the schools and all of those things, who's in charge of making sure everything's like up to date and everything's ready to go?
So that's a multifaceted question. For instance, like at Desmond, I have security check the mag lock. I happened to go over Desmond the other day, right? When I walked in, I asked the ladies, I go, let's see if the mag lock works. And sure enough, they pressed the button and I tried to open the door and it wouldn't open. And I wasn't going to get through that campus. So basically we have, what they have is a comprehensive school site safety plan, that those things are in a checklist, that they're up and functioning and running. So that's all done. One of the things with Titan, they use it all the time. We run drills all the time. So we're always running drills on that. That's always functioning basically. So to answer your question, it's a school site safety principle and my job, but typically it's a school site safety principle to make sure that all these things are in place and are functioning. If there's an issue, then we reach out and we get it fixed and addressed. So to answer your question short, it's a school site safety principle, but also it's my safety team. If they see an issue that needs to be addressed, then we'll address it. So it's basically, and you know what? Those are done by site principals. So I hope that answered your question, ma'am.
Yes, I have a question. So in case of an emergency, who is allowed to, press that button?
Now, what are you talking about? Like the Titan?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So basically like this, basically it'll be administrators, safety, and our police officers. But if there's something suspicious that they see, they can put on Titan. So I'll get the alert on Titan. The principal will get it, like they say, hey, there's a suspicious guy over by my classroom on the other side of room 43. That would go directly to the administrator. He would address it. If he feels that it's an emergency, then he would enact what they call lockdown. And we have 3 levels of lockdown. We have an interior, exterior, and full lockdown. And that would be typically done by the principal or designate. Anybody on the Titan system can initiate and say that there's a threat, but then it'll be up to the principal to determine that threat and then log down the campus accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the question. So like I said, I'll do a wraparound. We have, I believe, a total of 41 safety officers in our department. We have 3 SROs that are housed at each high school, Madera High, Madera South, and Matilda Torres. And one of the things I did forget to mention, we have our substation at Madera High School. So what we have there, we have a small building that's been given to our patrol unit, our motor unit that drive motorcycles in the city. There are traffic units that basically we house them at Madera High School. And so that's where they're housed at. That's where they do the reports. That's where they have their lunch. That's where they go to. And it was a great thing that we wanted to collaborate with our local police department. And the reason for that is, in my opinion, it's always great. The more cops we have on campus, the better. And that's the safer for our children. So we have cops. If our SRO is dealing with the response at Madera High, we have other motor units that may be there. So we have that. We have 41 safety officers. We have, and that's including subs. We have our 3 SROs that are housed at all our high schools. We have our substation at Madera High School, and we have a rover that goes around and checks our elementary schools. So that's sort of what we provide in a nutshell. And I'm hoping to one day do a presentation, or maybe you guys are going to come tonight. We have officers that are trained in gangs and gang identifiers. We have officers that are highly skilled trained in drug awareness or drug identification. We're going to start here very soon, going out and doing 6th grade gang presentations, myself and one of the officers, and we're going to be doing anti-vaping presentations because vaping has become a huge problem amongst youth of our teenagers and adolescents. So that's one of the we're going to be doing intervention as a tool for safety. So I encourage parents to talk to your kids tonight. Hopefully each one of the parents that are here tonight will get on, talk to their child tonight and ask them what they have to stop it at. And if they don't have it, highly encourage them to put it on there. That's a way for them to report anything to us anonymously, and it's free of charge. All they got to do is download it on their phone. And like I said, we have about 5,000 downloads. So that means we have close to 5,000 eyes of kids that can report any type of danger. And basically what we say is if you see something, say something. And now these kids are saying something because they have a platform to do it on, and it's done anonymously where they don't have to worry about any repercussions. So we highly encourage parents to talk about that with your child. And you know what, for that matter, parents could grab their student's phone if they wanted to, and they could sit in the alert. We don't know who it's coming from. We just know that it's coming from a student, or we think it's a student, and telling us what's going on that campus. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I think I've been going for about 30 minutes.
It's a lot of useful information that some of us didn't even know.
You know, Erica, and you know what, I'll tell you what, each and every one of my team members and part of my team, we care. We know that these are people's precious children, and we take that job very seriously every day. And we come to work to provide a safe learning environment for those children. And like I said, I have a fantastic team. I couldn't ask for a better group of team to be overseen. They're fantastic, and it's been a pleasure working with them. So we have dedicated staff that are here to provide a safety learning environment for your children.
And we thank you for that. I'm MUSD staff, but I'm also a parent. So that gives me some kind of, safety net to know that my kids are safe, even as staff, working here. So we do feel safe. I've been at a school site and even, within other buildings, we do feel safe because we see the patrolling, we see everything that you guys are implementing, and that just gives us a sense of security. So thank you for everything that you do.
It's my pleasure. And to tell the parents that are in the audience today, I have 2 children. I have 2 wonderful children. One of my son is at a junior high, and my daughter's at an elementary school, and they're going to be going to where they're, I can't tell parents our schools are safe and my kids aren't in those schools. And I pledge that, and my kids will stay in our schools for as long as I'm in this position, because my kids are going to go through the same schools you guys are going to. My daughter's in elementary school, and before I had children, I took a passion to fighting gangs in Madera, and I did that for 27 years to go out the gang members that were recruiting our kids and ruining their lives. And we had a huge success in that. Madera had in Madera Unified School District and juvenile halls, we had about a little bit over 1,000 gang members within the school system, our school age. They said as high as 1,500. That was almost 27 years ago. We talked to about 30,000 6th graders over 27 years, and our numbers got to less than 150. So we cut our gang membership down by about 90%. but it took us 27 years and a lot of hard work to get it done. And that's the same hard work we're going to put in providing safety for your children.
So do
Anything
we,
else?
any other questions? This is the time before,
I do have one question.
awesome.
So I noticed that my daughter's classroom at Nishimoto, she has these like the locks, I'm assuming for when you guys do the
Yes.
lockdowns, right?
Well, there's
So
several
is that
things.
something that's like implemented in all schools? Like, do all classrooms have that, or is that still something that's being put into a lot of the schools right now?
So you bring up a good question, Mom. One of the things first at Nishimoto, I'm trying to think of the school. I got a lot of schools, Pershing, Nishimoto. Nishimoto has a mag lock there, and they also do have I don't know how to say this to you, but I will say this. If they lock that front office door, it's going to be very hard to get through there, regardless of what you do to get through there, other than drive
Yeah.
a car through there. So with that being said, you have the mag locks. In your child's room is what they have lock blocks. And I believe they're little mechanisms that basically the doors, this is what we done in Madera Unified. One of the things years ago, when we were doing a lockdown at Madera High School, we went to a lockdown and the teacher had to go out. So imagine this, and it might be a little embarrassing. So the teacher, the classroom was open. They had to grab their district keys. They went outside and tried to lock their door. They got the wrong key. They went to another key. And the teacher got so nervous, she didn't lock the door behind her. So one of the things I asked my school is, how do we overcome this? And one of the things that we found is this: all classroom doors remain locked, and we have a lock block. It's just a door blocker. So kids can go in and out without disrupting the class, going in and out. But as soon as we go to lockdown, they slide that down, they shut their door, and the door is always locked. And so to answer your question, those lock blocks are basically in use at every school and every classroom. And every year, once a year, we go through and we check them and we make sure those that are broken or not there are replaced every year. And my team that does that every year. So those lock blocks and those mag locks are used at every school and every classroom.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, because she has one of those classrooms that's more like a portable, because she's still in preschool. So it's like kind of separated from the rest of the school, but that's like, I mean, they've already had a lockdown situation this year. But I did notice that the teacher had one of those, the little lock mechanisms on the door. That was just one of my things for like when she actually does start kindergarten and all the other, like when she gets into the bigger classes and stuff. I was just wondering if that's something that is within all the classrooms, or if it was just, I mean, I don't know if teachers have to provide their own safety mechanism, but I'm sure that's something, I mean, I would assume that that's something that the school district would have had to approve of.
No, so that's a great question, Mom, and I'm happy that you answered that question, because I give a brief presentation, but you bring up things to mind. One of the things you talked about was the lock blocks. They're in every classroom, and it's not almost like, it's not if you want them, you're going to have them, because in case of a mechanism, we want to make sure that everybody has those and they're installed at their schools. And that's at every school, including our preschools. One of the things that you brought up is the preschools were separate from the schools, and our SROs, those are our school resource officers. We found that we had a problem in communication with those preschool schools. So what we did, and you should check, and I highly encourage you to check, because we afford those preschools radios. So they have a district radio, which they have the school site, and they have the emergency channel. So if those school sites, if that preschool has an emergency, they can go on the emergency channel, which it should be on, and basically they could say whatever emergency had, and that'll go to myself, our dispatchers, and our SROs that are monitoring that while school's in session. So they have direct communication with us should they have anything happen at that particular school. And they should be getting the TINAP if they don't already have it with their school. So we worked really hard to get our preschools a lot more, I don't want to say safer, they were safe, but they're in a better position now to deal with an emergency should they have one and communicate with us directly. So thank you for that question.
Thank you.
And the parents here, whenever you go pick up your child, I highly encourage you to go look in like their classroom, like this parent did, and you'll see the lock blocks in there. You could ask the school, do you guys have a locking mechanism? And they will tell you yes. And there's certain things that, like I said, I wish parents, and I feel really bad for this, I wish I could tell you some of the stuff that we have in place, but I don't want to, because I don't want the bad guys to know the things that we have in place. When they go to that school, they're going to find out really fast. But we don't want to give up all our secrets, and it's just going to make it really hard for them to have access to our children. And our children could be in a safe environment until law enforcement could respond. I remember we had an incident at Madera High School. We had to lock down the school. And what do our parents think the response time is? Typically, Madera High School was like within a minute. Our law enforcement are wonderful in this town. They do a wonderful job. We had all those threats. I'll tell you what, when one of them responded, we had a threat at Madera High School. One of the great things of having our SROs there is that when that threat came in, it was transient, which means it wasn't real. But our SRO was immediately ran to the classroom. We're talking about 100 yards away. He dealt with the threat. But as he was running to the classrooms, it was amazing sight to see. And I wish parents could have seen. I wish I could have recorded. But we had officers pulling up to gates that were locked. They were jumping over those gates. They wanted to get to our children and make sure they were safe. So know that your children are in good hands, not only with the Madera Unified, but with our responding agencies, whether that be MPD. Our officers did a fantastic job, and all the threats that we had, they were all transient, which means as they were fake. And it's very troubling that our kids are calling in these type of threats and they tend to be fake and transient, but our officers respond accordingly and we deal with it accordingly. We just don't like that because obviously it disrupts the learning process and it exposes our kids to trauma that they don't need to have. Our little ones don't need that. But unfortunately, there's immature kids and kids that make these claims and we do investigate them and those kids are held accountable as well. Any other great questions?
I did get a couple comments in the chat. I have one from Eileen. I just want to thank you. I feel much better knowing that steps are being taken to keep our kids safe. And then we have Alicia, Mr. Fernandez. Thank you for your continued service and support. I remember you came to our class in 2006, 2007. Again, thank you.
Well, that was a long time ago. I was a lot younger then. But you know, one of the things, Cynthia, thank you for those comments and thank you for the parents for those comments. But the other thing is they have my direct number now. And my number is not like a secret. I had that number forever when I was working gangs. So parents could call me directly and tell me their concerns. And like I said, I work for them. So if they have a concern, call me directly, pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I answer my phone all the time whenever it rings. So yes, please call me and then we'll continue. And let me tell you this, parents, if you have a suggestion or a concern, call me. And if it's something that we can do, we'll implement that and get it done for our kids. Sometimes we will take on great ideas. I have a wonderful team, like I said, that is always furthering our knowledge in school safety. And we're moving, like I said, I think we're moving further and further along every year. And as the years go, we're implementing new safety protocols and we're still working on a couple that we want now. One of the things I want to tell the parents is that January 2nd, 3rd, it'll be a Monday, Tuesday, and on the 7th, on a Saturday, we're going to be having the largest scale active shooter training for our law enforcement and paramedics. So we did one at Madera South probably about 5 years ago. Our local agency, MPD, felt that it was important that we do this again. So they're putting this on with the collaboration with us while using our facilities, but they're putting it on. We're going to have every officer from MPD, CHP, probation. We're going to have CAL FIRE. We're going to have PISRESI. We're going to have the fire department there. And we're going to work on ways and we're going to practice ways should we have an emergency on how we're going to deal with it and how officers are going to respond and how we're going to keep those kids safe and how we're going to respond to that particular emergency. So it's a big undertaking to have all that going on. But when you see, maybe drive by, don't stop because we're going to be busy, but maybe on the 2nd or 3rd, take the family out. You'll see all our local law enforcement at those schools. And that's what we'll be training for, that active shooter training.
Oh, yeah. Great. That sounds really cool.
Oh, one more other thing for our parents. We're also working with Knowledge Saves Lives. We're going to be I'm not sure on the exact date, but we're going to be offering several trainings. So we're going to offer for Torres, Madera High, and Madera South. They have what they call pyramids. You guys are familiar with that, right? All the pyramids that fall in the soil. If you're into Torres, you'll probably be into the Brenda, Monroe, Nishimoto, Pershing pyramid. And basically what we're going to have is we're going to have a 4-day training. We're going to shut down that school on a Saturday, and we're going to bring in a group of men, and my team is going to help with that. We're going to bring in we're going to give those teachers probably about a 5-hour training on all lockdown procedures, how to respond to their classrooms, where to get their kids to, how to deal with it. We're going to show front office staff on how to lock down the school, how to use the intercom, how to ensure through the intercom, tell the children that they're safe. Basically, we're going to give them a 4-hour extensive training on how to lock down and how to deal with the active shooter should that happen. One of the things is we did it several years ago, but we did like maybe less than an hour training. We felt that was insignificant and we need to provide more training for our teachers so they're better equipped with the knowledge that they need to protect the children. So we're going to do that. We're going to be offering it at different times for all the pyramids. So all teachers can come on Saturdays and come train with us and be better trained. So we want, like I said, we take pride in a lot of parents. You know, they see different stories And we have a lot of things like I share with them that we have in place, but they hear these stories all the time in the news about schools. Our schools we have worked very hard to get them to where they are at now. And we're very confident in our abilities to deal with things. But one of the best things that we can ask our parents to do is communicate with your children. Have that relationship with those children, because they will tell you things that normally they wouldn't tell anybody else. And what we're doing is building student champions. My safety department student champions are awards that were given to people that they feel they could go to. Should there be well, I want to say student champions are those that kids can relate to and go to if or have made an impact in their life. My department only makes up 1% of the district's personnel staff, and we got 25% of the awards. We got 5 awards for student champion. One of them went to our police officer. And our police officers are here to build a relationship with children. We have officers that will go out. Officer Marcial will go out and play kickball or dodgeball at our junior highs and go out. We have another officer that has coffee with our students in the morning. So our students will come in, they'll sit down with him and talk to him, you know, and just change lives. We have another SRO or another police officer that works at Matilda Torres that's a cheerleading coach. So we do, not only do we provide safety, but we're building relationships with our students. Our like I said, our SRO and our safety officers got student champion awards. I think we got 5 of them from 5 different students that were out there interacting with them. And I think we have about 5 more minutes. Any other questions? I don't see any in the chat.
Yeah, I don't see any either. Cindy, do you see any in the direct messages for you?
No, none.
Well, maybe Cindy and Erica, maybe we got everything, all the information out to them, and they feel that they got everything. That's why they're not
I
that many
think
questions.
so. You did great. You're just go, 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 go.
Well, I'm just one part of my team, and we got a lot of pieces to that team. So we're all like
Yeah.
this.
No, it's great information.
And you
Great
know, we
information.
have an SRO for the parents to know. We have an SRO that comes in early before almost every student arrives. So he's on campus to deal with any emergency that we do in the morning, and we have one that stays late. So when all the students are gone, we provide a wraparound service for our students. We have security before they even arrive, and we have security till long after they arrive. Our school's over. So we have like 30 minutes to an hour before and almost an hour after school to deal with any issues that we should deal with. So you guys should be proud. You know, we have a great district, and we take a pride in our providing a safe learning environment for your children.
I don't know if you answered this beforehand, but the elementary schools, do you have officers at the elementary schools, or you're just doing drive-bys around?
We don't have officers at our, like you're talking about safety officers at our elementary schools. Typically, our elementary school data shows that, you know, that's not problematic. Our problematic areas are our high schools and junior highs, but we do have an elementary lead that patrols our junior highs. And like I said, one of our protocols that we have in place is that we have an SRO that's housed on the east side, the middle of Madera, and on the west side of Madera to deal in close proximity with any of those issues that we have there. But our elementary schools have the law blocks. They do have the same procedures at the high school, and they have the same implementation as the high schools.
Okay, so it would be pretty fast acting if anything happened.
So let me,
Because-
ma'am,
Lincoln is pretty like isolated and not around a whole lot of schools.
well, no, we get calls to Lincoln, and what's our response time there? Probably max is about 2 minutes, but if we're out in the areas, it'll be a little less than that. And we go there quite a bit, but we have an officer that's Madera South. So from there, it's not very far for him to get there, and we have one at Madera High. But like I said, our officers, ma'am, are always out and about. We might be at just say, Sarah, we have an officer all the time over at TJ. So officers are always moving about, and if he's over that area, close proximity, we'll respond. Not only that, ma'am, the other thing is Madera PD has different beats that they respond to, and they could immediately respond to that call. But yeah, all these schools have the same protocols, and we're implementing everything across the board. So all the schools are equally treated, and the same protocols are done throughout the district. So
Okay,
thank you for the question, ma'am. Try to read the chat box.
Yeah, I think there's two comments there. Cindy, did you want to chime in on those? Or?
Yeah, so from Alicia, your dedication and passion is phenomenal. Yes, Lawrence, we can see your passion for this and much appreciated. Patricia says, many thanks to you and your team for your intense focus on keeping our little treasures safe in this crazy world we live in. God bless you all.
And you know, and I'll
Thank
speak
you,
to both those.
Patricia.
Thank you for the kind words. But you know, we do, like I said, we come to work every day knowing that these are people's treasures, like you said. And that's what we look forward to protecting. And that's our jobs. And we come to work every day looking forward to doing it. And you know what? My dedication and my passion is also felt by all the guys that work with me and all the gals that work with me. We have a phenomenal team of safety officers and SROs. I think I'll put our team up against anybody else in the state. We have a great team. And, you know, like I said, our collaboration with our local partners is huge. And we work closely with MPD on a lot of those issues, and they're very helpful. Well, 5 more minutes. Any other questions? And if not, I think we're meeting tonight, Cindy, right? From 4 to 7.
Mhm.
So
Yes, 4 to 7 for the in-person session at Madera South High School. And you'll have a table, right, with your team will be there.
I will have, I believe, yes, I'll have several officers out there. We're going to try to get one of my SROs if they're not busy to be out there, so you can meet us, and I'll be out there, yes, answering questions. And like I said, just talking with them. We highly encourage involvement from our parents, and be looking forward. We're going to be advertising at our junior highs. I want to do it at all our schools. I want to do a vaping session for all our parents on vaping. And if they ever want anything having to do with vaping in our gangs, please call us and we'll provide that presentation of that service for you guys. Whatever it is that you need, let us know what training you want and we'll provide it for you, whatever that may be or whatever that looks like.
Yes, the vaping's a really interesting one. I hear a lot of comments on parents because of the new items that children are bringing around that they're not aware of that, you know, they're using at the school sites.
You know, a lot of them are using, whether it be at the school site or the community, but yes, we have all that. We have some very skilled safety officers that are highly trained in those areas, and they're doing some wonderful presentations. And we're going to be doing them at all the schools. But like I said, any one of these parents, like one of our parents that I see on camera, she's more than welcome to go to her school and say, hey, I would like to hear that vape presentation. Can you call them out? They would call me directly and we'll pick a time and we'll go out and provide that service for that school and that parent. Like I said, I know I went to one of the junior highs and our safety officers told me, hey, Lawrence, we only have 2 parents here. Should we cancel? And our response was no. Those are 2 parents that took time out of their schedule to learn and want to learn, and we're going to present to them. I remember years ago when I had a gang presentation, we had 1 parent show up. And guess what? We gave that parent the 2-hour presentation like everybody else. And because she came and cared. So no matter if I had parents, presentations that big as 500 parents and as small as 1. And those parents are important to us that came to be educated, and we share with them our knowledge.
Wow, that's great. Well, we'll probably see you in our parent resource centers giving that information, those workshops. So hopefully we can have you soon.
And hopefully, Erica, I'll be part of this. Well, hopefully Ali keeps me part of this for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th until I retire. So it's wonderful talking to parents and getting this information out there. I know we met with the NAACP. They wanted to know what our safety precautions were, and they had some concerns. But I believe after our 30 minutes, a lot of parents and community members don't know what we have in place and what our safety protocols are. And once they hear about them, they're like, well, we didn't know these things were in place, and we feel a lot better and a lot safer. And a lot of them, I don't know how to get that message out of what we're doing in our schools and what we have in place. But I wish we could do a better message at getting it out, because once parents know what we have, they feel a lot safer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that.
And more to come, parents, more to come.
We gotta roll with the times, right? Whatever, we have to be just prepared for whatever comes our way. So, and I think that we're pretty much ahead of the game, I could say.
Yeah, there's not very many schools that have the things that we have on the front offices, like the mag locks and the tinting and those things. There are not a lot of schools that have those.
Yeah, so that's great. Great to know. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, any suggestions? We will have a survey as well. So, and everything is anonymous. So you guys can go ahead and type it all up if need be. So I think we can wrap it up now, Mr. Lawrence, so we can let you continue your day. And we want to thank you for your time and for all the great information that you have provided to our community, to our families. Thank you so much for your hard work and dedication. It is greatly appreciated.
All right, you guys have a wonderful day. You got my number, so feel free to call me anytime you want.
We have you on speed dial.
All right, thank you. You guys have a great day. Thank you for your help, Cynthia and Erica.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.
So I guess we can go ahead and start. Before we start the raffle, we'll go ahead and do the survey. So please take a couple minutes of your time and complete the survey. And this will help us for our future parent engagement conference. So
I'm
the
gonna
link
check
is-
out then, Erica. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you. We'll see you later. So go ahead and complete the survey now so that we could start with the raffle and then we'll have our next workshop and Cindy will give us more information about that after we get our winner. So good luck to all of you.
Okay, let me just. Okay, looks like we did get some responses on that. Perfect, thank you. So let me go ahead and do the raffle wheel next. Okay, everyone. We have Amy Rodriguez. Congratulations, Amy. Is she on?
Amy, yes, she's on.
So again, just call our call center and they will take that information from you. And we'll go ahead and go into our break and we will be back